click, click. Hello everyone, this is Take from Bigheadtaco, and I'm here in Sun Yat-sen I don't know the whole name, the Chinese Botanical Traditional Garden, but here in Chinatown, Vancouver. And look who is next to me, Billy the Fuji guy. Billy, I've wanted to do this for a long time. Can we fist bump? All right. Are we supposed to say something? I can't remember now.
You know, and usually it's I'm Billy and you're Take and we're the Fuji Guys.
Yeah, but
right?
I'm not a Fuji guy, but I'm
Honorary
Fuji
Fuji Guys.
Honorary. I like that. So Billy, thank you so much for coming on.
No, thanks for having me on the show. Absolutely.
I've wanted to have you on the show for a long time. Now people are thinking we're Asian and we're in an Asian garden. How atypical, but we are here for a reason, right?
It's a coincidence. However, we do have a Fuji event here in Vancouver, BC. It's a annual photo walk. You know, we actually had it in
biannual.
It's
maybe triannual.
Kind of, yeah. We wanted just to get a lot of Fuji enthusiasts who either enjoy our products or wanted to learn more about the products, try out some of the new stuff, and get them all together.
It was a great event,
and it was a great turnout. I think we had about 100 people here.
Yeah. I think it was more. I think 100 people registered. Some snuck in.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It was a fun day today for them to shoot. We actually had, of course, we had some other media. Ex-photographers came out. We had Kale Friesen, we had Roberts as well, who's one of our latest ex-photographers who shoot Fuji cameras as a professional thing. And we had some guests, like Victor Lucas, who's part of EP Media and does video game reviews. So he's also a great Fuji fan. He was out here, so I met a lot of people that had some interest in our cameras. This event,
there's a lot. You know what? You see some. You're being humble. There's I won't say who they were, but I also reviewed for Leica, and I saw some of my Leica guys that have like 30, 40 grand in bodies alone and lenses. And when he showed up, I said, "What's in your hand?" He had an X Pro 1 and one of the prime lenses, and then he gave me this whole story. Just like watching anyone who collects things, they have a story of how they came about it, and he gave me this whole story of he was at Heathrow Airport and he loves the camera. I think he saw a Zach Arias video. He's like, I gotta get this camera. So he's a I wouldn't say he's a closet Fuji fan lover, but when you shoot Leica, there's kind of this prestige to it. But he brought out his entire Fuji kit, and I never knew he shot Fuji. So you even got these Leica guys. So Leica, you watch out. You got these amazing cameras.
I think it's just the way we design our camera aesthetically. It does look very, like old film cameras. And people have there's still that prestige to it. And it also has that timeless factor. When you buy a camera, you want it to look throughout the years still as good as it was the first day.
Yes. Exactly. And people don't understand, even myself, the term classic, we think old, but the term classic actually means that it's timeless.
That's right.
So if there's a classic design, you think, like classic cars. It just means that the design it was so well designed, like Suits from the 60s, TV shows like Mad Men. You could take someone dressed in the 60s, put them to today, and they still look trendy. Why? Because the design, those guys that were designing that time, and that goes for the classic 60s cars, any of that camera design. And so Fujifilm has taken that approach to the design and actually realizes that unlike ugly DSLRs, I'm sorry, they're functional, but they're not. I think we've learned to see beauty in some of them. Nikon and some of their Pininfarina design with the little red. I mean, they do look nice, and some of the older film cameras, like the F3s and stuff, and a lot of the older Fujifilm cameras. Fantastic design.
we really look at our own lineup, and we kind of create this what we call XDNA, and the XDNA has a specific format on how you have a top and bottom plate. And then you have this little metal, this piece in the middle that kind of wraps around, and it gives it that what we call XDNA. It's a unique design that we try to keep with all of our X series cameras.
So I did promise everyone, including you, that Billy, you sit there and you have to nerd out for 15-20 minutes to talk about technology, and that's your job. People actually don't. One guy had said, why isn't Greg and Billy, like in one of my comments, one of your comments, why doesn't Greg and Billy do videos every week? They don't realize, well, Greg is vice president, and what is your official title with Fuji?
I'm basically the manager for the technical specialist group.
Which
deals with, and I help with the sales and marketing.
So
it's a full-time
Billy
job
has a real job, guys. Okay, so doing YouTube videos is sort of like the cherry on top.
It's nice to do. It's a break from what I have to do, but like anyone else, so there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done.
Of course. So Billy, I mean, they didn't just hire you off the street to do YouTube videos. You actually, how many years have you been with Fuji?
I've been with Fuji for over 13 years.
Yes, I mean that's a serious career.
And it's a great company to work, and I enjoy it. Not just necessarily about digital cameras, but it's very important for the people that we work with. Greg, who's the other Fuji guy, is really, someone that I work very closely with. And he's really
he's a tall guy too.
He's tall.
He makes you look short.
He does.
I'm actually glad. It's like I can look at someone eye to eye. This is wonderful. Thank you, Billy. Thank you. But yeah, he's very. He phoned me a couple of weeks ago.
And he has the passion. Yes. And I guess what drew me to be with Fuji still is that there's really no one like him who actually started off, at the bottom of the line, developing film for consumers. He's been around for a long time, and now he's looking after basically this photo imaging division of Fuji Film, and he knows exactly what customers are wanting. And there's a lot of VPs that come in and know nothing about
they come from toilet paper or hair
but no business, but not the actual product.
And Richie, Yuichi, he's same thing. I think he said 30-year career, right? Even longer.
Yes,
been
that's
around
right.
for a long time.
So we have a good passion at Fuji, and I think that's what shows in our product as well.
That's right, very good. So I just finished saying we won't do this, but we're doing it. So who is Billy? So the first question I'm gonna ask, so we're gonna ask some questions that I'm sure everyone's thought about. And this is kind of camera centric, though I don't know what you grabbed. I didn't even look what you grabbed, but I said, I'm gonna ask Billy, grab your favorite Fujifilm body and your favorite lens, and don't just grab the latest and the greatest, but just honestly, what is your favorite at this time?
Well,
okay, so what do you have there?
I have here with me the XT10.
Okay.
And it's also in the silver finish.
Yes.
It's a camera that...
Don't sell it. It's gonna sell on its own.
It appeals to me because, number one, I always like smaller, right? I do have these small little, I guess you can call it Asian hands. Well, pretty much like that. Some people call it girly hands, but I just want the camera to fit nice. It does fit nice. And before this, of course, I had the XE2 was one of my favorite cameras just because of size and weight.
Yeah,
and
it is actually lighter than this.
The whole point of cameras, to me at least, and especially mirrorless, is that losing the weight. And I fully appreciate that because I have two younger kids, 2 and 5 years old. So if I'm going out and taking photos, I'm still carrying diaper bags and stuff. I want to have a lighter camera,
but powerful
light as possible, and still powerful.
Yeah, APS-C size sensor.
It is an APS-C.
Same sensor actually in here.
And same image quality.
But we're going to look at so the lens. I should have guessed what lens you'd pick. I looked. So it is the.
It's a 56 1.2.
Yeah, not the APD.
Not the APD version, and it's for obviously a specific reason. I do take pictures of my kids a lot.
Yeah, it's a beautiful lens.
I like portrait shooting.
Yeah.
I actually prefer portrait than landscape.
Yes.
To me, a photo it's more
course.
timeless when there's actually someone I recognize in that photo. So whether it's my kids, my wife, family, and friends.
How do you find the AF?
Great. The autofocus is great. Then that's the reason why I don't have the APD version is because with APD it prevents the phase detection from actually operating.
Yeah, so, because of the filter, the gradient filter, whatever.
Exactly, that's built onto it. So it does affect phase detection focusing, and I require fast focusing. Like most of you, I mean, if you're familiar with DSLRs, they have a great phase detection sensor. Yes. It's aside from the sensor itself. Yeah. And mirrorless cameras are getting there. And for me, like I said, and to most people, it is important. AF is important, and that's why the XT10 is also one of my favorites because we have updated the latest firmware. To support better tracking.
It actually outbeats this XT at this point.
At this moment, yes.
But you have the version 4.0 coming up soon.
It's coming up soon. It's coming at the end of June. And of course,
you did a separate YouTube video just for the firmware update. That's the craziest thing, in a good way. That was the craziest thing. You did a special video just to tell people.
Just, and we're gonna look at doing a video to show you a comparison. Actually, we're gonna roll back in a firmware on the XT1, and we're gonna have the latest firmware on the XT1.
Like a Fuji Guys video.
A Fuji Guys video, and we're gonna show you.
Too bad we're so far away. I'd love to just walk past in the background and just. But anyways, I'm happy to have you here now. So we know your favorite lens and your favorite body. XT10 with the
56 1.2. Now, saying that, of course, I get a lot of cameras. right?
Yes.
Because I always work with the latest, and
I
you
do
know,
too.
if there is a new camera that comes out that is become smaller, I don't know how much more smaller I want actually, because this is actually quite a nice size. I might gravitate to that.
Actually, I find that in terms of the real estate of space, you don't want to go much smaller than that. Then it starts getting a little bit too small, right?
Yeah.
So this is a bit wider here.
I'm limited to some lenses too because of balancing.
Yes, of course. Some of the heavier
XT1
lenses
has a much better balance.
Yeah.
And so I am limited to that point, but I'm a prime lens shooter. So you typically won't catch me using a zoom lens. No matter how good 18 to 55 2.8 lenses or any of our
1.2.
even our 50 to 140. At the end of the day, I want to take my time.
That's right.
I want to have a set focal length, and I want to shoot that, and it's going to get better photos for me.
That's right.
I don't want to be sitting around on my computer. I got kids. I don't want to be going through hundreds of photos. You don't
want to do 8 frames per second burst with 20. No.
I mean, it does come in handy, but generally, no.
Sports guys,
nice single shot.
You got guys from 5D Mark IIIs actually gravitating towards the Fuji system, and that's kind of where bodies like this, with the zoom lenses, with the 2.8, that's what it's kind of catered to. But then you got other guys that come from film or come from Leica, and to them they want compact, they want lightweight, and they want nice prime. So for me, my favorite Fujifilm lens is actually the 14 f2.8, because I'm a street photographer and I want to get the most strangers, people I don't know.
That's probably because you haven't tried the 16 mil 1.0.
No. That is I actually, you know what? It's not even a matter of. I wrote this article. I won't even say where it is, but anyways, I actually did compare the 16 with the 14. It has nothing to do with the image quality. It just has to do with the focal length. If I want to go wide, I want to go a little bit more extreme. And I actually tell people, instead of getting the 10 to 24, which is a fantastic lens, I tested it. I say either get the 14 or the 16 prime. And for me personally, I like the smaller size with 2.8.
That's a good point.
I like the size and the weight, and it balances. Actually, the 16 balances nice on the XT1, but on the XT2, the XT10, it does feel a little bit front heavy. But if you need the 1.4, I couldn't believe the shallow depth of field on a wide lens.
I mean, it's actually
not normal.
Greg calls it a wide portrait because
it's weird.
It has some really nice bokeh, very shallow depth of field, and it's covered enough. But it's also more tighter that it actually works very well for doing portraits. So that's why I kind of like that. Now, saying that, the 56 is a great lens, but most often you'll catch me with the 35-1.4. To me, a 50 mil equivalent lens.
That needs a pullback. That needs the F2's coming out. I hope I get a pre-production soon, or production one.
We'll get you one for sure,
we're excited to. Everyone's excited because at F2, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Leica. It's like a Summicron. It's sort of that mid price. It's not as expensive as the 1.4s, or nor as heavy, and not as slow as the 2.8s or the 2.4s, and so it's that middle ground. So 35 F2, I'm actually very excited, and it's.
We haven't officially announced it yet, but
you haven't.
Course,
sorry.
No, but it's out there on
It's out there. Come on,
we really need we are catering for that camera because we need something a little bit more lightweight, and we need to up the autofocus system. So the 35 has its limitations, but for what I do, it's generally my go-to lens aside from the 56 1.2.
Okay, so when you get two cameras together, we just tend to end up me and Kale Friesen the same thing. We're just like, let's talk about other things, and we just end up talking about gear. But okay, so the other question I was going to ask, without saying, what is your favorite color except for green?
Except for green.
Unless
actually, I don't actually like green as a color.
Oh, you can say.
I'm going to be typical and say probably. No, I can't say shades, right? Grays or blacks or
what? Officially,
or whites, right? Because they're not really colors.
Well,
right?
officially they're not in a scientific term.
I like white.
To me, white is a color.
So
it's like they say tomatoes a fruit. No, it's a vegetable to me.
So you'll see me, driving a white car.
No, white's good. It's very Asian.
It is.
It's very Asian to say white. But that's your favorite color. Now, do you like ice cream?
Sure, absolutely. I think a lot of people like ice cream.
Okay, so what is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Well, you know what? Flavor is called strawberry.
Strawberry?
And the best ice cream out there, personally, is, Haagen-Dazs. So
you like Haagen-Dazs and you like strawberry?
It's really bad for you. There's a lot of cream, a lot of sugar, but, that's my go-to thing,
Strawberry.
I can't pull my Asian side and say I like, green tea, matcha, or something like that, but I do prefer it, but at the end of the day, for me, it's strawberry.
It's strawberry? Okay,
and
for me, it's
chocolate
mint. Sesame chocolate mint, and there's green in that. Even though the green color is fake, but green tea is pretty good too.
Green tea is good, but it's not my go-to though. Strawberry, it's the fruitiness. I like the fruitiness.
Really? To me, fruit and ice cream is separate. I keep it except blueberry. Now, another thing is we never see your shoes, Billy. I'm a big shoe guy. I'm a big shoe guy. So, you know, like actually, your shoes are pretty cool. What shoes are those?
I got I don't know what I got on here.
Those are cool. I like like loafers. Oh, look at that.
The Lacoste.
Oh man, you're hiding that yellow background.
Yeah, I missed the yellow on that.
No, what are you gonna do, Billy? Can I touch the cuffs for a second? I mean, you can stop. You don't have to do this later. But you gotta.
Is that the new style now for me
to
do it?
And just do one side. Yeah, I think that's very hipster. You gotta show that back off. It's like hiding the tongue of your shoe.
Well, that's the thing with our cameras is that you pick up our cameras and it hides the fact that it's a digital camera, and maybe that's the same concept with this shoe.
Yeah.
And my design is that I don't want people to know I have this shoe.
No.
I know I have it.
You need a little. You need just that little bit of flair. And so there you go. So Billy, that's Billy's shoes.
There you go.
You're.
I'm promoting a lot of brands out here. I don't know if I'm a brand type of guy.
Other than Fuji.
Actually, I just like the style of the shoe. And you know what? That yellow did catch my.
See, there you go. And then you're hiding it. What's the point? It's like buying a Ferrari with the wing and then covering the wing. Why would you do that? Now I noticed also. I like neck straps because as a street photographer, sometimes I am just buying groceries or doing stuff, and then it's always here. Some guys like the boardy straps, they're nice, but that means you're always shooting, right? Now I've never. What system is this?
You know what? I don't remember what this is. This is a Black Spider or something like that.
Yeah.
Black Spider. It's a quick release, snaps on.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice for street photography. It's kind of lightweight. You know, you can put. Saying that though, you know, this is not typically something I always use.
You screw on the bottom line.
It is. It just to me, it's a little bit too geeky. I want to be as. You know,
but for this event, it's the right to be geeky. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
Typically, you won't be catching me wearing this. Not to say the product is good.
Yes.
But because I prefer the camera to be kind of clean. I don't even like straps at all.
Oh really? Oh really?
My wife hates that. But
what do you put it in the bag?
I just throw it in the bag and I take it out. Straps get in my way. Yeah. I just want to have an aesthetically clean camera. In fact. This design of this camera, I didn't.
Going back to cameras.
I didn't want this button because it's
ice cream. Okay, we'll let you plug it again.
Okay.
Just talk about this camera.
It's not the camera, but actually I was quite involved in sitting in and making some choices on design. And one of the things that we had was a camera that didn't have this bump. And I aesthetically, again, I'm going back to what I like. And without that bump, this camera looks so much nicer.
That's it.
But I guess the decision was made to have a grip, and I totally understand that. But that's just the one thing probably I didn't like on this is aesthetically, if it didn't have this bump, it would be
because Leicas
ultimate camera.
Because to me, Leicas are the same where they're more form than function.
Yeah,
meaning they look beautiful, but as soon as you shoot with it a lot, you're like, oh, then people buy all the accessories, the Gordy straps,
and it
extra
takes away
hand grips,
from it.
and the half case stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I am on your side. You do need to balance aesthetics with practicality.
That's right. And that's what they have.
You're right. Actually, this is a very. I actually like the look of the XT10 more than the XT1.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's beautiful. And that hidden, you want to show, I'll let you do a plug-in now.
Yeah.
Do the pop-up flash. I just like the way that it's engineered. It's done, bump up the power a little bit. It's actually, I saw somebody, camera store guys, he tested the fill-in, and he said it didn't really work well, but I think he had a zoom on there. If you use a prime, and you shoot it at f2, it's great for fill-in.
It's equivalent to actually the Fujifilm X-E2, so it's the same flash.
Oh, really?
So although it looks smaller, it's actually not.
And actually bumps it out of the way of the lens.
That's right.
And for fill-in, if you shoot, I think on that zoom lens it was like an f4. Well, the biggest thing that stops flash distance, people don't realize, it's not shutter speed, it's the aperture, right? So if you shoot at a wider aperture for daylight fill, it's perfect, as long as it's not too telephoto.
That's right.
So 35-1.4, 23-1.4, 16-1.4. Perfect for fill.
And you got hot shoes, so you got a built-in flash. It's a super intelligent system, but you got the hot shoe.
Does that come with a cover?
No, this one doesn't. So it's.
You guys should sell accessory. You should sell these things.
Okay, what's a good feedback?
Yeah, this and also
we sell replacement.
Let's just see. You know what? Oh, look at that. That's so beautiful. and then sell matching threaded plugins.
Sure, the soft release.
Have a kit and have different colors.
Hey, if it comes out, it's you that produced that, right? So
no, I just want.
You give us the idea, and if we actually make it,
for sure.
We're gonna do.
Because I actually teased you because when this first came out, you were in Singapore or in Tokyo, Godzilla behind you, and you had the Fuji guy from Singapore or Malaysia or something like that. I can't remember. Or was it the Australian guy, the Hulk and tall guy?
Yeah, he's very tall guy.
Yeah, but anyways, you use this as a feature. And I actually laughed. I'm like, Billy, come on, the hot shoe cover is a feature. And then when I saw the camera, I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of nice because it is solid.
It's
metal.
solid aluminum.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, actually this is a feature. It closes it off really nice.
Yes.
Right.
Although the camera's weather sealed, it's not needed, but it's just stacked.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So even if this got wet, it's all right.
Yeah.
All right, but not pouring wet.
That's right.
Right. Very good. Anyways, Billy, I'm not sure if I have any more random, unless you want to share something personal. Like for instance, okay, so forget plugging Fuji. Other than the Fuji, like for instance, film cameras. What film cameras do you love or do you enjoy? Like we talked a little bit about the aesthetics of the Leica.
Yeah, you know, my first camera experience that I had, I guess, comes from, of course, like most people, your father, right?
Of course.
And I guess the first camera that I ever really shot with was the Canon AE1.
Oh.
It's a film camera. It's manual focus.
Yeah. Probably came with a 50mm.
It came with a 50mm, which is a standard lens.
And which is why you like the 35 so much.
and maybe that's exactly what it is. I've been brainwashed to that. And I think I remember this one point that my mom said was, when it got later on, she kind of brought up the fact that, the images don't look as good as we had back then when we had the old camera. And now now I realize and think about it, and I'm like, great lens, film, large sensor versus some of these compact automatic film cameras now. It won't compete. And at the end of the day, it was the prime lens that made the difference.
I think so. Yeah, exactly. So, so you had AE1.
Yeah.
Billy shot with an AE1.
That's
right.
right.
A lot of hipsters now buy the AE1s.
You push halfway down, and the meter would come down, and then you would set the aperture appropriately to that. You pretty much set everything, and maybe that's why these Fuji cameras are like that too. Maybe that's why I like them as well. Not necessarily because I work for Fuji. And if I didn't, I probably would end up gravitating to Fuji. In fact, before I joined Fuji Film, my first digital camera I purchased was actually a Fuji camera. It was it's an A201.
I can't imagine.
So you can probably see that picture if you want to Google that. It was a 2-megapixel camera.
Was it those weird ones that were kind of like more tall?
No, it was actually just a standard looking.
That one was a sexy one you guys had before. It was more long than it was wide.
Yes. We have a 4700, 4800.
Was that what it was? Yeah.
It was FA cool. Porsche design.
There you go. That's why.
That's why. But no, it's an A201. It was non-zoomed, 2 megapixels, which was incredible for that time. I thought the picture quality was quite nice, okay? And, the webcam feature that was on it, which is one of the reasons I also bought it, not so nice. And so I ended up writing an email to Fuji saying, oh my God.
You emailed Fuji?
I did, and at the time, this is so bad, you can't be providing products like that. And then a year later, I ended up working for Fuji.
Was it because of the email, or you just
It was just out of the blue, and the first thing I had to do was, the person that hired me said basically, hey Billy, I remember you. You can now answer those emails.
Really? This is the first here on Bigheadtaco. So you complain to Fuji.
Yes.
And then we're going to hire this guy and he can deal with the same guys that complain back to Fuji.
That's exactly it. No, not exactly that is.
Yes,
so don't complain so you can get a job at Fuji. It was completely
These cameras are awful. Can I work for you now? Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, one of the things I always appreciate about Fuji is that you do listen to the needs and the complaints of customers. And when I was talking to Greg, he even mentioned that Canada was one of the foremost countries where Fujifilm takes in the information. It actually affects decisions in terms of design, in terms of firmware update. Considering the size of Canada, you know, we're 35 million. US is 300 plus million. You know, so it's great. And actually, the Fuji Guys, you're probably the most watched Fuji YouTube channel, right?
With amongst the Fuji family, yes.
No, exactly, and that's great. We're a small market,
but, you know, we are expanding it, and we're expanding it internationally, so that our guys in the UK, Australia.
Well, you guys are the best. You and Greg, do another video. The last few that you did, Greg was absent.
Yeah, we'll get him back in.
You get it back in for like the X Pro 2 or something like that. No, I know we're not supposed to talk about it. But anyways, we are, you know, I mean, in a way it shows.
And I think a lot of people are anticipating, you know, the next big thing.
You
know, so.
But there is a lot of
not to plug in Samsung there, but.
But no, for sure, and it shows that people are interested. You know, and people are excited, and you know, typically the flagship. And even in cars, you know, the newer ones somehow come in with the latest technology, but the flagship is still the flagship.
That's right.
And so people are excited. And I saw a lot of X Pro 1s today.
There was a lot. I was actually shocked to see that. So
well,
it's nice.
I mean, be shocked.
No, I mean, it's been a while.
They like the hybrid viewfinder, that's why. And that's why the X100 series has done so well. So Greg confirmed that it will have a hybrid still. So some were afraid that it would go EVF 100%.
Greg confirmed that?
Well, that's what he told me. Maybe he's lying to me so that I will then tell Fuji Rumors. But anyways, and if you guys are on the fence, you need the hybrid viewfinder. Because the primes, people want.
You know what? Greg's absolutely right. I mean, the X Pro 1, XT, X100 series of cameras, you know, it's all about that hybrid viewfinder. So you'll probably see an advanced version of that, you know, for that.
It's already on the X100T.
That's right.
And then I got excited about that because of the. Not only is it a hybrid, but it's a hybrid within a hybrid with the mini EVF. So that's great. So anyways, Billy, thank you so much for coming on my show, and hopefully one day you will invite me onto your show.
We could,
we'll see. We're very far away, but I'll keep on shooting videos with Gord. Gord's a great guy.
He's the other Fuji guy.
So but I would love to do something, and maybe with the X Pro 2 comes out, I'll fly out with my entourage, and you have your entourage, and we'll do something.
If I'm in town, actually, and you know, we can coordinate that as well.
Excellent. So thank you, Billy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You want to finish off with the click? So I did it myself. So now we're gonna finish. So thank you for watching, and everyone have a happy day and happy shooting. Click.